Hello and welcome back to another Untitled video. Today we are talking about Tropical Storm Estelle, which has just formed in the East Pacific, maybe like a minute or two before I started filming this. Perfect timing, by the way. So let's start off with the statistics for this storm. Right now, Tropical Storm Estelle has maximum sustained winds of 40 miles per hour, minimum central pressure of 1,006 millibars, and is moving northwest at 10 miles per hour. So let's take a look here at the warnings and cone. So right now, no warnings are in place. And we do see here that this is going to remain a tropical storm according to the National Hurricane Center for about the next 24 hours, and then eventually transition into a hurricane early in the morning on Sunday, and continuing to be a hurricane through into Wednesday, when it does eventually cross that 20 degrees north parallel, which we will talk about in a little bit. But this does seem like one of those storms that will intensify fairly rapidly and then kind of remain at a consistent strength for a little bit. So let's take a look here at the arrival time of winds with wind speed probabilities turned on, and you can see here that we have basically 70+% chance of tropical storm force winds from now until Tuesday at 8 a.m. earliest arrival time. And we have some islands here. We have this one island right in here. Of course, I don't know names specifically, but islands off the coast of southwest Mexico. One has a 70% chance of tropical storm force winds starting between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. on Monday. And we have a few other islands here in the 30 to 70% chance range of experiencing tropical storm force winds starting between Sunday 8 p.m. and Monday at 8 a.m. earliest arrival time. So let's take a look at this storm on satellite imagery, and you can see here that this is that broad area of low pressure that we were talking about starting to consolidate down. And usually with these storms, we do see a well-defined center, which we have, as well as plenty of outer bands, which we also have present as well. So a very good looking tropical storm. It has all the ingredients there. Center of rotation is right around here, and you can see that is moving fairly slowly. 10 miles an hour isn't very fast. So let's start off here with our current storm information from both Tropical Tidbits and Weather Nerds. Starting off with our global hurricane models, and you can see that trajectory of this storm is pretty much set. We were talking the other day about the potential differences in strength based off of the trajectory of this storm. Now it seems like this is going to be taking a west-northwesterly track, or I guess it's technically no, west-northwest, basically northwest, but you can see that it crosses that 20 degrees north parallel at about hour 120. So 120 hours from now, which is approximately around that 5-day mark. Now, let's take a look at the GEFS showing both the track of this storm, taking that northwesterly track, crossing that 20 degrees north parallel at exactly 120 hours. But the peak pressure drop here at 983 millibars in about 4 days. We also have the GEPS, which is showing a more westerly track after it crosses the 20 degrees north parallel, again at about hour 120. And peak pressure here of 996 millibars, so a much weaker storm according to the GEPS Ensemble than the GEFS. Then we have the European Ensemble, which we don't get the statistics on millibar count, but you have that general northwesterly track with peak intensity right around that hour 72-96 range. So 3 to 4 days from now. Now, this color is max winds in knots. And you can see that you have some spaghetti strains, as I like to call them, forecasting that 70-80 knot range, which is Category 1, Category 2 hurricane. But most are in that green-yellow range, which is high tropical storm, low hurricane. So here is our intensity guidance here. So following the most selected path, we do have a steady increase in strength from now until about hour 60, so 60 hours from now, about 2.5 days, at approximately a Category 1 storm, staying at that intensity but peaking at hour 72, so 3 days from now, and starting to drop off after that, but remaining as a hurricane until about hour 108, which is about 4.5 days, and eventually dwindling back into a tropical storm between hour 120 and hour 156, and eventually becoming a tropical depression here at hour 168, which is about 7 days. Now, we do have individual spaghetti strains, as I like to call them, forecasting a Category 2 storm. We have about 3 or 4 models suggesting that, which means that it is unlikely, but it is still possible. We also have the possibility that this storm remains a tropical storm throughout its entire duration, and we have 3 models suggesting that. But again, the median track here is intensification from now until about 2.5 days from now, peaking at around 3 days, and starting to dwindle off after day 3. So, let's take a look at the European model. Here is our broad area of low pressure with Estelle. And you can see if this is going to kind of take its time, according to the European model, strengthening. But you can see that it starts to get its game up here, starting right around, that is the 17th. So that is Sunday at 8 a.m. and eventually strengthening all the way down to 984 millibars. That is 8 p.m. on, that is Monday the 18th, and kind of hovering around that mark kind of until that is 5 a.m. on Wednesday the 20th, and then eventually starting to increase in millibar count, aka weakening as it's crossing that 20 degrees north threshold and into much cooler waters until eventually kind of collapsing in on itself here, 2 a.m. Sunday the 24th. So we could be talking about this for about a week. Now, during that time period, we do have some fairly strong winds. Now, at peak intensities here, it's right around that 58, 64 knot count, which is right about where we look at for hurricane strength. So if we had to pick out a benchmark here for the European model, I'd probably pick this green track right in here, kind of staying that peak intensification right in here, and kind of staying as a low to mid-grade Cat 1 before eventually starting to dwindle down again. Now, the GFS has this strengthening a bit quicker, kind of starting that peak intensification right around 8 a.m. on Saturday and dropping all the way down to 972 millibars. That is 8 a.m. on Tuesday the 19th, and kind of staying at that intensity for a day, and then as it crosses that 20 degrees north threshold, starts to weaken off, but of course it has more to weaken off, so it doesn't really kind of die off until, now this is the 22nd, so a little bit earlier, but that intensification and de-intensification is quicker on both ends. So, let's take a look at those wind speeds here, and you can see that at peak intensities, we're in those 64 plus range, which is Cat 1, Cat 2 storm. So if we had to kind of pin that to one of these strains, I would say it's this dark green model, fast intensification, stays at Category 2 for a little bit, and then starts to drop off fairly quickly down to a tropical depression. So, two different ways to look at this storm. Both have it becoming a hurricane. So does the National Hurricane Center. But one has it intensifying quicker and starting to de-intensify quicker. And one has those intensification and de-intensification cycles a little bit longer. So another interesting storm here in the East Pacific as the activity continues to roll. But that is all the information that I have for today. So if you found this video informative and helpful, consider leaving a like, subscribing, and hitting the bell. But that is all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.